So I just got done filming a video about data and why it's so important for AI. Super fun, super cool. But last night before I went to go snooze, I wrote on my whiteboard the science of AI application. There's a lot of science in machine learning. There's a lot of research that's been being done for neural networks and getting AI to learn or become AGI and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. I love it. I love watching videos and stuff like that. But it leaves a wake of possibilities behind it. If you are a researcher, it's not your job to apply it to the world. And that's where people like me and maybe you watching this video come in. And kind of why there's such this explosion for interest, because this promise of AI and you and your mother and your grandmother and your daughter and whatever are all going to get rich if you just sell AI to your neighbor. Which is not the case exactly. Yes, it is true that it is a giant opportunity, but it doesn't mean it's easy. From what I've found so far of, very early on in this journey of, building solutions and trying to pioneer how this technology will actually be used effectively, it's a real science. Like it takes a lot of creativity and it takes a lot of time banging your head against the wall. There's so many Loom videos I have on my computer, or just unfinished projects where I'm trying to create a demo for how an AI system could be used in the future. But then, I don't commit my full every waking hour to building that fully. So there's a more comprehensive look at it. If you'll go back on my channel, you're going to see a lot of really simple end-to-end automations. They might look, depending on how well versed you are with this technology, it might look really cool to you, or it might look a little bit boring. To me, I just kind of view those as trying to trigger what's possible and trying to, somebody who watches that, hopefully they get a better idea of actually the value that this technology can bring. But what I find more and more, if I do these one-off, projects that just take me a day or two to build, it doesn't really fully encompass this grand vision or dream of what AI is capable of. And that's where I kind of think this idea of what is the science, or what is the scientific method behind actually creating solutions for everyday people using AI, using the technology. I think I'm finding a couple of takeaways for anybody who is actually trying to craft a solution, and for any other young guy or young girl or anybody who's trying to make $1 bajillion. You need to build a system that actually works reliably, and I found that it's really hard to do that. Really hard. It's really easy to make demos, and I know that this is an enduring truth of the software world. You can make a demo that delivers really cool results and promises this great upside, but when you try to move that into production, there's a lot more complexities and shit that breaks. So I have some other videos where I riff on it, but honestly, the best medicine I've seen, or the best way to so many people here. I think the best way to create AI that actually helps somebody is you have to get very narrow on the problem you're trying to solve initially. So there's a couple of problems. The first problem you probably have to get over is just not knowing how to build with AI, not understanding it. And, all these low-code, no-code solutions, N8N, Make.com, all of the gurus around it will promise that it's the easiest thing. You just go download this JSON file, and then you paste in your template, and then boom, you have a working system. It's not how it works. Sure, you can have an automation that runs one time, but you still don't understand what's going to trigger it. How does it fit into the day? What happens when you ask a slightly different question to the system, and it has a completely different response than what you were hoping for? So, in order to actually become a scientist of application in AI, you have to build them yourself. Sure, maybe download a template as a starting place, but you're gonna have to download it yourself. You're gonna have to build it yourself. You're gonna have to make changes to that system yourself. And I think it was Naval who said, like, the quickest way to learn is all feedback loops. You have to have, you put an input into a system, and you need to know whether that input was good or bad, if it was true or false. And that's not always binary. It's usually a spectrum. But unless you have somebody looking over your system or telling you if it's good or bad, or if if your system is built upon, like, is the output of my AI system true or false? Is the schedule that my system generated, is it going to be useful for contractors? True or false? Is the meal plan that I created, is the meal plan that my AI generated, is it within the calorie count or is it not? Is the output of my essay that my AI system just wrote, is it going to get an A or is it going to get flagged for AI? Like, what I just find is the way that you make your systems reliable and actually useful is you need to set up, I guess, what's called the evals or the test cases. And a lot of, depending on what system you're building, it's going to be harder to do it than other ones. So if for me, what I found is I lack an education in construction management. I know a little bit about it. My father has been doing it his whole life. I've been around it, but I've never, bidded a project and then actually had to go deliver a schedule and then go build it, right? So how do I know? AI is able to, like, when I ask it, generate me a schedule. It's able to generate a schedule, okay? But how do I know if it's a good schedule? I lack that knowledge. And that's where the evals come in of, you need to have somebody with domain expertise grade it. You need to have somebody shit on your beautiful creation in order for it to actually be useful. You need to have it break. And that's kind of, I think, where we're about to be, is we have gotten the system digestible enough for new users to use it, and we just want them to start hucking hammers at it. We want to see it start breaking so we can start this flywheel of improvements, and actually, like, creating this system to deliver really cool results. I think a couple of other, I guess, top of mind things when it comes to our core product, which is the master scheduler, which is supposed to just remove the need for residential general contractors in this state to ever have to create a line item task schedule, and instead they have one that's perfectly created for their business, and they can just make edits after it's already created. There's a couple of different ways that we're figuring out how to do it. There's this big, wide open, wild west of AI right now where, you just use what people call ChatGPT wrappers. You're just making an API call to some large language model to do your service, which is great. It's working fine right now. But what happens when, you need to have data privacy, right? So you need to start hosting your own models, or you need to start hosting your own models. So what we're looking at right now is a couple of different open source models. I think Olama, Quen. There's a lot of really promising Chinese ones. And what does it look like to fine tune that, host it on our own server somewhere, and make secure API calls? So when a contractor wants to go and generate a schedule, he's gonna know that his generated schedule and all of his conversations and data is not being sent to OpenAI or Anthropic. There was a recent court ruling where OpenAI was forced to turn over all of their API calls, which essentially is all of their conversations between users and ChatGPT, to a court, which basically means, yeah, I mean, you can say, like, sure, in the terms of service with these AI companies, like, they'll say they won't share your data or they're going to anonymize it, but there's always like these backdoor ways for them to use it for their own gain, or if they're forced to from the government. So, like, truly, I think I've seen a couple other creators talk about it, but the way that I think AI is going to go is, if you are selling AI or building AI solutions, open sourced, locally hosted models for your solutions, depending on how sensitive the information is. I mean, if you're just making a shitcoin app or some app, I don't know if it's that important, but for, like, you're doing something for lawyers, you're doing something for doctors. Doctors is a huge thing, but even for us, we're doing stuff for construction. We want to let our clients know that their data is going to be safe and secure, and it won't be turned over to OpenAI or anyone else. Yeah. I think if we're just keeping this rant going, I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous because I know that this first iteration of the master scheduler, it's pretty fucking cool. Like, you know, I've showed it to my pops. I've showed it to some of my other family members, some other contractors, and people who have seen it, and, like, watching the system just, like, boo boo boo, put a bunch of task items in and have your crew scheduled to them, you know, and then having the ability to, like, voice to voice talk with essentially your schedule or your AI Jarvis system that can make a bunch of changes to your schedule or reach out to contractors or your company workers. It's fucking awesome. It's super cool, but I just know that it's going to take more time and more feedback to get it like holy wow moment every single time. So there's gonna be that wow moment when the first schedule is generated. There's gonna be that wow moment when the customers start to talk with the AI and they're able to do other things. But then it's going to be balanced out by, oh shit, this schedule is, you know, I had to basically change 60 or 70% of this schedule to actually make it fit my specific use case because it didn't account for the 100-degree weather that I work in or something like that. And that's where, like, I'm excited to get that feedback so we can start building for every single edge use case. But it's definitely a little scary. Like, you know, I've put so much time into trying to, like, think of every single possible, you know, fuck up or bug or way that this system could go astray based on a construction manager asking a question of it. And still, even then, because I lack hyper domain expertise, I'm not going to get every single use case, and you just need to simply let it break. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let it break. Ben's about to come over, and we're about to hook up the master scheduler to our newly created Opulence construction dashboard. And we're going to basically configure what does it look like to add a new project. What does it look like to talk to your AI assistant and have it make changes? So I'm pretty excited. You know, we're gonna have something to show everybody here very soon, and we're gonna be able to get all the feedback we want. But anyway, I don't know. I think I wanted to challenge myself to start doing a little bit more open talks. Let this be a little bit more of a documentation as well. This channel, so maybe this is the part one founder story, but anyway, that's what we got.